What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Bubba Spade Career Mode in MotoGP 20. And before we get into the episode, I want to say, for this week, I'm not going to be having a face cam because I realized while watching the last episode that putting it in the right-hand corner, it basically covers the gap between me and whoever's in front of me / behind me. So I feel like it's maybe a little bit redundant in this game, but definitely let me know in the comments if you guys want it to come back. Maybe I can find a spot on the screen to where it won't be a problem. Thing is, if on the top left, of course, there's the standings. On the top right, there's like I said, the gap. On the bottom right, there's the HUD for, you know, all the gears, all that stuff. All very, very important stuff to have for you guys to see. On the bottom left, of course, there's the radar, the map of the track. So I feel like there's not really a spot on the screen where there isn't something that's important being shown. So for this race, I want to leave it without a face cam, and I want to wait and see what you guys say about it. Now we're on Assen, as you can see, and Assen isn't really one of the tracks that I'm best at, and it's not really a track that I've been a big fan of for a while now in the MotoGP games. In real life, I do like it, but in the games, I just haven't really been a fan for a while. So I fully expect this one to be a tough race, especially because, like I said, it's raining. Or I didn't say that, but because it is raining. And in qualifying, we're actually able to finish on pole by less than 1/10 of a second, if I'm not mistaken. It was very, very close. Meanwhile, we crash out Foggia. I wouldn't say that's necessarily our fault because he went flying into Bubba, so you know that's kind of his fault. Koffler also crashing out, so it's not the guy we would have hoped to crash out. Of course, Mazia, but we're not going to complain about it as long as we're still on the bike. Then we're fine and we're feeling good. We're feeling confident because, despite Assen not being one of my best tracks, I still feel like in qualifying and free practice, I was quick enough to hold my own and really and just kind of stay consistently up there with the times. Now, I will say one thing. I'm having a hard time on this track in doing more than 2 or 3 laps in a row. I don't know exactly what it is. It might just be because in the rain, and once I kind of change some of the settings for power and stuff like that with traction, in the rain I have a bit of a hard time. I don't know exactly what the explanation was, but I had a hard time doing doing some of the test runs I was trying to do, like I try to do for fuel and stuff like that. So difficult, but we'll see what happens in the race. Right now we're having a battle with Mazia, able to get past him going into the next to last turn. I guess it's not really the next to last because there is the chicane right here, but like this is a very, very fun part of the track, and I will say that with the improved gameplay, I just feel like this is really, really, really fun to go through. And that's something I think that is really making a difference here, is like even with the latest update, and if you guys haven't really been following, or if you haven't been playing the game or something like that, the updates have really drastically changed the game every time they've come out, and this new one has definitely made it a bit more difficult to stay on your bike when you're going in hard on the front in turns and stuff like that. If you hit the brakes mid-turn, it is a lot easier to crash. That's happened to me quite a bit in practice and qualifying. So I'm definitely trying to be a lot easier on the brakes in this in the race itself, and hopefully that will pay its dividends as time goes on. But I've been noticing that, and people on the Facebook group that I'm in, they've also been talking about that, and they, of course, I think most of them use a lot more hardcore stats and or settings, so that probably does affect it. So I can only imagine how much of a hard time they're having. But I'm not complaining about that, because I still feel like it makes the game a bit more realistic, to where you have to really focus on doing things correctly. And with the way the game works, I just feel like this track is really, really fun. And I want to say, like, this is the first race actually I did since the new update, and I can honestly say, like, the gameplay is really, really different. And I feel like the biggest difference they made, apart from the braking, making it a lot easier to lose the front, I will say that I feel like leaning is a bit, I don't even know if it's improved or if it's worse now. I just feel like they made leaning a bit slower, so the animation itself takes a little bit longer, and I think in some ways it actually makes it easier, because it gives you more time to really control exactly how far you want to lean, but at the same time it makes it a bit more difficult to go into corners. So I don't know, I think it's a change that could potentially improve the game, and I'll need to experiment a little bit more. But with the frequency of their updates, it's kind of hard to get a grasp on things, because it seems like as soon as they put out an update, there's immediately something else to kind of change things. And it's nice because it keeps it fresh, but at the same time, having so many gameplay changes, and this is coming from a guy who's played a lot of Ultimate Team, I haven't played in a long time now, but you know, I've played a lot of Ultimate Team, and that's a game where every time a patch would release in FIFA, the gameplay would be completely different in Ultimate Team, and it's really frustrating. But if nothing else, at least the gameplay is remaining very fun in this game, and I'm really enjoying it. And, right now, like I said, having a hard time. It's like, I don't know what it is, but on this track, the third lap it just seems to be where I start to collapse, and I don't know exactly why the hell it is, but I ran really wide there. I don't know if it's a matter of concentration or what. Maybe it's like, I don't know, like I said, due to the rain or something. I don't know exactly what the hell the problem is, but it's definitely something I noticed. I haven't made another mistake so far in this lap. So far, so good. There you go, make another one, touching the dirt. Luckily, we touched the dirt, not the grass, because the grass is pretty much a death sentence in the dry, let alone in the wet. So I would definitely say that's probably something we need to avoid desperately. Ran a little bit wide, but not too bad right there. Definitely coming into this corner way too wide, getting a horrible drive out of it. Another turn immediately after, which could save us a little bit in terms of not getting caught due to their speed. And then this part of the track is where I feel like I shine the most. This is like a very fast part of the track, very fun to go through. And I like to go pretty much full throttle all the way through the year. I let off right there. I don't hit the brakes until I get to there. Just like tap the brakes. For the most part, only let off. And going into the chicane, it's really important that you get the line right for the first right. And that kind of sets you up nicely for the left and the right again. But it is really important to get the first part of that little chicane correct. Or the S, I guess it's more like an S than a chicane. Ran it really wide there through the first corner. Luckily for us, Assen does have a really solid runoff system, so for the most part, if you run wide, you're going to be ending up on asphalt, so you're not going to be, you know, losing too much time. And so far, so good with the penalties. Haven't gotten one. Wasn't really having a problem with the invalid laps either in practice and qualifying, so maybe they made it a little bit more tolerant, because I feel like, you know, running off, not right here like going wide, but cutting inside in that corner, I feel like I probably would have gotten a penalty in some of the other tracks or some of the other races. So maybe they made it a little bit more lenient when it comes to the penalties as well, which is of course a very welcome change if that is the case, and we'll kind of investigate as time goes on to see if that is the case, or maybe it's just me kind of being over-analyzing certain things and being over-paranoid maybe too, because I'm so used to getting penalties that cost us very important points. Still having not the best lap. I'll be surprised if this lap ends up as a 153 or 154. More like a 154. What? A 150 or what is it? I can't even remember what the good time is. But regardless, I would be surprised if this ends up being a solid lap, because I just feel like making a lot of dumb decisions, making a lot of dumb mistakes, and it's kind of costing us. But like I said, there's this little part right here. In general, like we build up a good gap every time we go through here. So there's like one or two little parts of the track where we're always able to pull that half a second out of our ass and really stay comfortable. And if it weren't for that, then I feel like we probably wouldn't be in first place right now, because there's the middle portion of the track where we lose a lot of ground. And right there, you see, I cut it perfectly, and I feel like that's pretty much the best way you can do that. But I just think in some of the previous races, that probably would have ended up being a penalty. And you can see right there, we gained well over a second in that last sector. So that's where we really shine, and that's a good thing, because one of the worst things for me is being great at the first part of a track and then it's really terrible at the second and third parts of it, because everything that basically the gap that I build in the first part of it ends up disintegrating and collapsing, and it just makes me look bad, and it makes me feel bad. Whereas in a track like Assen, where maybe I struggle more on the first part of the track as opposed to the later part, so I feel like I gain a little bit of a gap and then I lose it, but then I really pull away in on the last sector, and that's always very good to basically just go through, because nothing worse than having that pressure on you, especially, you know, in a game like this where I'm still trying to get my bearings, and with all the updates, it does kind of throw you off at times. Like right there, ran really wide for no damn reason, touching the grass. Sets us up very poorly for the next couple of turns. Luckily, it's a bit straight, so you don't really have to actually turn in there. And this is one where I do like to hit the brakes a little bit. Definitely not too much. Like right there, blew the line completely. But you can really just kind of tap the brakes and then use the rear brake to send you through it. And making some mistakes there, but that's how I basically got on pole. Is I was using the rear brake to the best of my ability, and maybe in the rain it's not quite the best, but I don't know. I'm just feeling very, very confident with the game right now, and I do look forward to taking what I've learned so far online and seeing if I can actually compete there. I doubt it at first. Definitely not against some of the better guys, but I think I can hold my own at least against some of your middle to, you know, your average player slash slightly above average. I think I can definitely hold my own in that skill group. And right now, as you can see, of 154.3. So once again, a very, very poor time. I think the qualifying time I had on pole was like a 153. It was a low 153, so a good time. Suzuki right there at 153.2. So that's a hell of a lap time for Suzuki. Luckily for us, I don't think he's right there in second or third. I don't think he's one of the guys that's on our ass. He might be a little bit farther back. But regardless, a hell of a time for him. And it's kind of interesting to see, too, because I feel like he's always been consistently really fast, but he's had some bad races so far. And I think he was in the first race. It was I think it was Mazia, but he was right there, too. And he's consistently been fast. He just hasn't really been able to compete for wins. Alright, so a second gap going into the second sector. This is a part where we definitely need to nail it. And if you look at the HUD in the bottom right, we have 0.6 fuel. So essentially half a lap, allegedly. There's no way in hell it's going to last us a half a lap, because like you see right there, we lost 0.1 already. The tires are still okay. I'm not going to complain about the tires. Ran really, really wide there, which is not good for our fuel consumption. But we put it back on 1, and that's going to keep us. You know, pretty much I would say fine for the rest of the race. One thing, and I really do, you know, need you guys to help me out. 'Cause I haven't really getting an answer to this. Like, what do you recommend for fuel consumption settings? Because I ran out of fuel, and it's I don't have it on 0 traction like a lot of people recommend, and I still seem to, you know, constantly have fuel problems. So I definitely look forward to seeing some of your recommendations as we go through the final S. Go to the left, and then hit this little right. We got a nice gap, and we're gonna go and win this race. A 153 flat, basically. It's like 153.056, I think it was. And that's actually our best. That's actually our best lap of the race, but it's not the best of the race. Actually, Antonelli hit a 152.6, so very, very quick. Suzuki also 152.6, which was the best of the race. So that a half a second faster, more or less, than our best time. So interesting. It's like kind of weird that Suzuki wasn't able to keep that pace up the whole time that he actually hit it on his last lap. But I mean, fair enough. We have a solid 39-point lead over Mazia right now. Feeling very, very confident about this championship, and this was a race that I was fully expecting to lose at least 5 points, of course, not winning the race. But definitely, you know, feeling very confident. Now, we're going to be hitting Austria soon. We're going to be hitting Czech Republic soon, hitting Finland soon. So, some tracks that I definitely don't have a lot of confidence in winning there. Brno, I'm not terrible at, but the other ones, yeah, I'm not exactly thrilled about having to race there. Let's just put it that way. So hopefully we won't lose too many points in the coming episodes, and we'll continue to get win after win here, because that's what. Did we win? We didn't win Catalunya, that's for sure. So we won Sachsenring, we won this one. So that's another 2 wins on the bounce after winning in Le Mans and Mugello. So far we've been very dominant. We've been very consistent, which is something that we didn't have in the previous season of this series. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and like I said, let me know in the comments if you have any tips or any tricks to improve myself. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.